All right, everybody, it's less than 60 days out for the atheist to once again fail the Shock of God challenge. And we're going to be getting on the motorcycle and talking about the Shock of God challenge. And also, I have right here in my formerly Bible page-turning fingers 5 things that Christians admit is truth, but 5 things that the world says is a lie. And do you know they're the same exact 5 things? 5 things that are truth and very politically incorrect. We're going to talk about that. And 5 things that for example, the secular atheist will say is a lie. So everything I'm about to tell you is the truth. Let's get on the motorcycle, and we are out here in the desert. I'm going to be showing you something out here in the desert as we ride. Let's start this puppy up. And clutch in. You know, gosh, it's almost we counted the other day, it was like almost 10 years, and it's going to be about 10 years that we've been challenging atheists to answer the Shock of God challenge. So I'm going to tell you guys what the Shock of God challenge is. Very simple question. What proof and evidence can you provide that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct? So you ready? We're going to be getting on this vehicle, which is exactly like you, the viewer. You know, you are the product of intelligent design, exactly like this motorcycle is. So we're out in the middle of the desert. If you want to get closer to God, this is where you do it. I'm telling you, it's very surreal. Let's let this guy go. Very surreal when you are on a motorcycle out in the middle of desert, riding along. It's just an epic feeling. So real quickly, we're going to be getting on the freeway, some very high speeds. They go fast around here, but look at this view. Isn't it awesome? Look at this. Just wide open desert, very high speed freeways, as you can see as they fly by. Here we go. Like, it'll say 65, but this is like the Autobahn. No one goes 65 around here. We're going to be talking to you about 5 things that are true that really tick people off that are non-Christians when you say it. So, less than 60 days out, every year I challenge atheists to answer the Shock of God challenge. What proof and evidence can you provide that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct? Now let's make sure the camera's going. Yeah. Look at this, guys. Surprise! Look at this. You're going to be seeing thousands and thousands of these windmills. So back to the challenge. Every year, for about 10 years, I've been challenging atheists to answer the Shock of God question. What proof and evidence can you provide as an atheist that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct? And do you know, no atheist has been able to provide any proof and evidence that would finally at last prove that atheism is accurate and correct. Click share below this video and send this to the most intelligent atheist, that you know. I know that's an oxymoron, because if they are intelligent, why would they be atheists? So click share right below this video, send this to them less than 60 days before the atheists fail again. And every year on the new year, I have to make another video saying how atheists failed the Shock of God challenge. One last time, then we're going to get into the 5 things that are true but really tick off people that are non-Christians. I'm going to talk to you about that. If you'd like to see the 5 things that are true that really tick off non-Christians, click right below this video and you'll see it. I'm going to make a shorter video and a longer video, one with just the challenge and one with the 5 things. Okay. That you know. I know that's an oxymoron, because if they are intelligent, why would they be atheists? So click share right below this video, send this to them less than 60 days before the atheists fail again. And every year on the new year, I have to make another video saying how atheists failed the Shock of God challenge. One last time, then we're going to get into the 5 things that are true but really tick off people that are non-Christians. I'm going to talk to you about that. If you'd like to see the 5 things that are true that really tick off non-Christians, click right below this video and you'll see it. I'm going to make a shorter video and a longer video, one with just the challenge and one with the 5 things. Okay, let's start off with number 1 here. You ready? I'm going to be saying 5 things that are true, yet if you're not a Christian, it really ticks people off. But they're true. Number 1, homosexuality is a sin and it's evil. Let's talk about that. Then we'll get to number 2. Do you know that the male reproductive organs are made, well, reproductive, to reproduce? The male reproductive organ was designed to work synergistically with the female reproductive organ. And when you get the male reproductive organs with the female reproductive organs, you have life. You create life. This is science. This is biology. Then why is it that some people that claim they're intellectuals will go against science and claim that it is natural for 2 men to have sexual relations or 2 women to attempt to have sexual relations? It's just not scientific. I think that guy has to go to the restroom, because we're out here in the middle of the desert, folks. Literally, there's like nothing. Now, I love people that are in the homosexual lifestyle. No homo. But I love people that are in the homosexual lifestyle. I want them to leave the dangerous lifestyle. But you know, why is there so much gender confusion nowadays? Well, you ever notice that especially the young brainwashed people that are in high school and junior high school and just going into college, they seem to be more gender confused than adults. Why is that? I believe it's indoctrination. The MTV generation and in the music industry and the Hollywood industry. It's indoctrination. And it's sad because our image is in the image of God. We should be focusing on the fact that we are created in the image of God. That is what you should self-identify as a man or a woman. You should self-identify that we're created, all of us, atheists, Muslims, Jews, those in the sinful life of homosexuality, and those people that are in the normal life. We should all admit that we are created in the image of God. So this is where I see a problem is, especially the youth, they are trying to identify based on their gender, okay? Based on their gender. That's we're going to talk about something else on number 2 here. So why is homosexuality sin? It's unnatural because 2 men cannot have a baby, 2 women cannot have a baby without a man or a woman. You need a man or a woman. And remember, even Jesus said in the beginning, God made them male and female. So why should I have to apologize for just quoting Jesus Christ? God made them male and female. Why should I have to apologize for stating the obvious that homosexuality is not scientific and it's unnatural? You get 100 men, put them on a deserted island, they're not going to be able to reproduce. 100 women, put them on a deserted island, they're not going to be able to reproduce. You need men and women to have life. Otherwise, follow to its logical course, we would have no life, because you need men and women to reproduce. Now, let's talk about... I spot a motorcycle. Let's talk about how people say there's more than two genders. No, there's not. There's two genders. Male or female. There's two genders. There's not 50-some genders. Now they're trying, the secularists are trying to brainwash people to say there's like 50-some genders when there's not. There's two, count them, two genders. And it's very simple to understand. If you got an innie, you're a female. If you got an outie, you're a male. See how simple that is? Sometimes people will say, well, what about people that are born without gender? Look, let's look at Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner is a man. I don't care what he chops off. Every chromosome, when you look under the microscope at his chromosomes, they scream male. If I get a Mercedes and I rip the emblem off of it and I put the Toyota emblem on the Mercedes, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to call it a Toyota. It's still a Mercedes. The guts of it on the inside scream Mercedes. Now, why should I, as a normal person, have to apologize or be offended, or I should say, be scared to offend someone, when I state the obvious that Bruce Jenner is a dude? Has the world gone insane? But this is what's happening. People are being brainwashed. You know, at the award ceremony, Bruce Jenner, the man, and we want the best for Bruce, but he's got some serious mental issues. He's got the disease called gender dysphoria. There's a disease when you are confused about what gender you are. So, we want the best for him. I would help donate money to get him some counseling, to get him some help, but not to change his sexual organs and chop them off and have him grow breasts. This is just insane. And may God help you if you say the truth in 2019 going on 2020. But I am a Christian. I'm going to say the truth. And I'm going to tell you another thing. I really love you guys watching this, but all seriousness, if everybody in the world agreed that Bruce Jenner was a woman, I would still say that Bruce Jenner is a man. Why? Because he is a man. So let's not, ever be so wimpy that we bow down like little wussies. That's right, I said it, wussies with a W, at the altar of political correctness, and we have to filter every little word we say through this altar of political correctness. Bruce Jenner is a man. There's two genders, male and female. There's not 50 genders. You don't have the right to choose what gender you think you are. Now, if Bruce Gender says, well, I want to be called Caitlin. I had a legal name change to Caitlin. Fine, I'll call you Caitlin, but you're still a man with a woman's name. Why should I have to deny reality because you're a pervert? That's right, I said it. The world is nuts. Well, I'm not going to go along with them. Alright, so there's only two genders. That's the second thing that you can't say. And now, I'm going to say something else. And some of you limp-wristed people that are wishy-washy people that claim to be Christians, but you're not really Christians because you vote Democrat. How could you be a Christian and vote for a pro-abortion Democrat platform? You can't. I mean, you could be a hypocrite. How could you be a Christian and vote for a party that has Beto O'Rourke on it that says that he wants to basically steal money from the churches? He wants to take money away from the churches and have jackbooted thugs, hold on, we're downshifting here, government jackbooted thugs go into the churches to basically get into the coffers of the churches. Hey, it's a nice Lamborghini. Get into the coffers of the churches and take the money from the churches. This is a Democrat that is saying this. So, how could you... And by the way, while we're there on this pro-life thing, if I hear one more time that it's the woman's body, I tell you I'm going to take out a full-page ad and say, the baby is not the woman's body. The baby's separate from the woman's body. Women, we love you. If you want to have breast augmentation, knock yourself out. That's your body. You want to get your lips plumped? Knock yourself out. That's your body. You want to murder the baby? Now we got a problem. That's not your body. It's a human being separate from your body. It's not your teeth being pulled out. You know, it's a living, breathing human thing. Whether it be one of the two genders, male or female. Okay. So voting Democrat is sinful. I'm telling you, there was a time when it wasn't that bad. But also, to be a Democrat, you believe in theft. Because your candidates... And I know you watching this video are not a stupid Democrat. I know this. Okay, but I'm talking to the other people that might be seeing this video, but not you. You obviously would not be a stupid Democrat because you know that socialism is theft. When you take someone else's money and you give it to someone else that didn't earn it, it's theft. And we're in California, which is a very bad state for theft. They steal a lot over here in California with taxes. But I could lane split. California, yes, the land of the the land of the fruits and the nuts. I was just in Palm Springs doing a little street preaching, if you know what I mean. Okay, so let's see here. Let's go to the next thing, that Jesus is the only way to salvation. Look, it's not that hard to admit that you're wrong. I admitted I was wrong when I was atheist and I became a Christian. Why is Jesus the only way to salvation? That lady back there had a bumper sticker, abortion stops a beating heart. Amen, sister. That's some... Abortion's horrible. I mean, if you're going to murder a baby in your womb or in your wife's womb, what won't you do? You've now crossed the line of being the most evil. Jesus is the only way to salvation, guys. Thank God for Jesus Christ. Because he is the only person that has never sinned. Muhammad sinned. I sinned. You sinned. Richard Dawkins sinned. His sin is stupidity. Bill Maher sinned. Everyone sinned. So God's standard is absolute perfection if you want to make it into heaven. So we need someone that is sinless to walk on this earth and never sin, and then take our punishment for our sins, become a propitiation for our sins, and our punishment has been paid in full. The penalty for sin is death. Jesus Christ dies, he rises again, he is perfect, sinless, and we put our hope, faith, and trust in the finished work of Jesus Christ on the cross, and we are saved. Atheism just puts its head in the ground and doesn't deal with the problem. Islam is works-based. You have to do so many good works, and once you've reached a number of good works, and no one really knows what that number is, it's like hidden in Islam, then Allah, which just means God, Allah is pleased, or maybe he's not. So you see, you never can be saved in atheism or Islam. And let's zoom through here. And so when you look at why Christianity makes sense, there's also proof and evidence that Jesus Christ really died. He really rose again. All right, so let's get to number 5. Guns are good. I don't mean they're good in a moral sense, like they're holy, but I mean they're good in a practical sense. Like water. Water is good. Air is good. Food is good, you know, in a practical sense, for survival. Do you know what in World War I, what our troops used to defeat the enemy? What did they use? Guns. You know, the founding of America, when we defeated the British, what did we use? Guns. That's right, folks. When George Washington was having problems with the British, he didn't reason with them, he shot them. That's right. Sometimes you go to war with evil people, it's just a fact of life. Now, World War II comes along. What did we defeat the Japanese with? And by the way, the Japanese are now our allies, but what did we defeat the Japanese with? Guns. We didn't use the Democrat handbook and try to make peace with them and give them cookies. We used guns and a few powerful bombs. What did we defeat the Nazis with? Guns. Now, I don't know where some people say it's unchristian to have a gun. Let us think of the weapon back in Jesus' time. The weapon back in Jesus' time was a pointy, stabby metal sword. It wasn't made out of wood. These were pointy, stabby swords. If you got stabbed with it, it would hurt you. If you took a swing at someone's ear, it would chop it off. Now, come with me now, ladies and gentlemen, to the Garden of Gethsemane, where Jesus is about to be betrayed by Judas, your first socialist. Judas, your first socialist leftist liberal. And before Jesus is going from town to town, he sits down with his disciples. He says, now listen, and I'm paraphrasing here, guys, but he sits down and he says, listen, before when I sent you out, did you lack anything? And they said, nothing, my Lord. He said, but now, he says, throughout Scripture, he's like, look, I'm sending you out like sheep amongst wolves. Can you imagine a sheep going out amongst wolves? And Jesus is like, this is where I'm sending you. And then it's interesting that sweet, gentle, meek, loving Jesus says, guys, I want you to buy a weapon. That's right. Sweet, gentle, meek, loving Jesus. Hold on. This guy is like going back and forth, so I don't want to risk it. Tells them to buy a weapon. The weapon of that choice was an AR-15. No, I'm kidding. The weapon of that choice was a stabby sword. That was like the AR-15 of the time. Not a little knife. They had little knives also. It'd be like nowadays Jesus saying, go out and get an AR-15. Now, please, don't ever take what Jesus says and add to it or take away from it. Did Jesus say, and then what we're going to do, we're going to go into the town and we're going to point these AR-15s at people or these swords and we're going to rob them? No. What did he say? He said just to have one with them. Now, why would Jesus say that? Remember that song by Sting, We Are Spirits in the Material World, and he keeps repeating it over and over ad nauseum. What is it with Sting? I'm getting sidetracked. What is it with Sting and his lyrics? Message in a bottle, whoa, message in... And he says, his lyrics over and over ad nauseum. We are spirits in the material world, our spirit. So I have a theory before we get to Jesus saying to go out and get the AR-15. My theory is that Sting goes into his producer, his agent, and he said, hey, I got this song here. It's called Message in a Bottle, or sending out a SOS, whatever the heck it is. And the agent says, well, how long is it? Well, I only have 2 verses, Sting says. Thank you, brother. Thank you. And so the agent says, nah, if you want it on the air, it needs to be over 2 minutes long. So Sting goes in the studio and he starts saying, message in a bottle, yeah, message in a bottle. And he just sings it over and over to fill the rest of his CD. And then he's like, wait a minute, I can do that with We Are Spirits in the Material World. Anyways, but Sting was right. We are spirits within materialism, the substance of our flesh, in also a material world. Spirit and material mixed together. And I like that Jesus tells the disciples, he says, look, and if you don't have a sword, this is how important it was if you didn't have a sword. If you don't have a sword, go sell your cloak and buy one. It's like Jesus is saying, look, the sword's more important than your shirt on your back, your clothing on your back. Now, why would Jesus say that? I think Jesus is a realist. He realizes that if his disciples have swords, they're less likely to be attacked. And you know what's interesting? Right after that, almost immediately after that, they come out to get Jesus with clubs and swords. The enemies of Jesus, not his disciples. And his disciples had swords. Don't you find it interesting that these vicious men with clubs and swords did not attack Jesus' disciples? Don't you find it interesting that Jesus himself did not have a sword? What do you get from that passage? What do you get from that Jesus told them to have the sword? Why would he tell them that? What do you think? I'm going to guess what you're going to think. If you're a highly intelligent person of superior breeding, the product of superior breeding, I'm going to guess, as I pat my finger to the camera here, I'm going to guess that you're going to say Jesus wanted the disciples to be defended, and he knew that if the enemies of Christ coming out to get Jesus saw that his disciples had swords, that his disciples would not be attacked. I think you're right. So this is what happens. Now, watch this. They come to get Jesus. What is it telling me to do here? Oh, I gotta get off. Let's see. No, I'm okay. They come to get Jesus, and Peter, he did what Jesus said, and he had a sword. But now what Peter does is he strikes to defend Jesus. He strikes I'm sorry, I'm looking at the GPS, guys. I'm going to stay here. I'm going to go against what the GPS tells me. He strikes the high priest servant on the side of the head with the sword and cuts off his ear. And Jesus says to Peter, hey, look, put your sword away. He who lives by the sword will die by the sword. Interesting. In other words, there's a difference between having a sword to defend yourself or to constantly be using the sword. In other words, sooner or later, if you're going to live that lifestyle, you are going to die by the sword also. So I find it interesting that these 5 things are very politically incorrect. You can't say homosexuality is a sin, even though it is. You can't say there's only 2 genders. What is this? You can't say there's only 2 genders, even though, oh, everyone doesn't want to go through this traffic here. I can just go down the middle though, so no sweat. You can't say there's only 2 genders, even though there is. You can't say that voting Democrat is sinful, even though it is. You can't say that Jesus is the only way to avoid hell, even though he is. Remember how Jesus said, those that believe in him are not condemned, but those that do not believe are condemned already because they do not believe in the name of God's only Son. They do not believe in Jesus Christ. So God bless you guys. I'm going to do this lane splitting. I'm going to end the video because this takes extreme balance and concentration. Oh, thank you, brother. So you're free to go whenever. Thanks for watching. Should I go through there? Oh my gosh. Oh good, the guy in the bus is getting over. Thanks for not squishing me. Reminds me of like Star Wars, you know, when they're closing that trash compactor. I'm going to turn the brights on here. Message in a bottle. Oh my gosh, Sting, please, no. That's sending out an SOS. Over and over ad nauseum he sings it. Thank you, brother. Whew, someone's overheating. How much fuel do we have? I reckon I have enough. I went to a Halloween party. It's like a Christian party. They don't call it Halloween. They call it like a harvest. And they started playing for the kids, you know. Baby shark, do 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 do, baby shark. And I swear that song was invented by Satan himself. I couldn't get that song out of my mind for a week. And then it goes to the old lady, Grandma Shark, doo, 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 doo. Oh my gosh. I'd rather listen to Sting nonstop for 5 hours. Who invented that song? You know another song that's aggravating? And you know, sorry. I was about to sing it and I drove by a car with pot. I hate the smell of pot. Oh, I can't stand it. But you know another song that's aggravating? Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. See, that guy has the same agent as Sting, and I can prove it. Wonder when she's gone away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. And she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. Or something like that. And then he sits down with his agent and he's like, that's all you got for the song? He's like, no, we need at least 2 or 3 minutes. He's like, I know what I'll do. I'll just sing, and I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. You ever notice how that song says, and I know, I know, I know, and I like ad nauseum again. This is a sweet elderly lady to the left that won't move over. She's even over on the lane. Come on. I give old people a pass. Okay. This guy's awesome. Hey, thanks, brother. You're the best, man. Thank you. He's like, I'll move over. You ever notice that atheists always bash God but never Satan? We know who their daddy is. Did you hear the one about the atheist that dies and he's standing in front of St. Peter? And the atheist is like, well, I'm going to go to heaven, right? And St. Peter says, well, no, because I lack a belief that you were ever Christian. One time, I was at Starbucks and this atheist sneezed. I didn't know he was atheist. I should have, though, because he was like 50 pounds overweight and he's balding. No, I'm just kidding. And it was a female. No, I'm just kidding. So, anyways, I'm like, bless you. And he's, I'm an atheist. And I looked at him, I could tell because your limp little wrist right there. No. So I said, oh, Okay. And when he sneezed again, I said, your life has no purpose. And he sneezed again. I said, your life has no purpose. Seemed to be more apropos of a blessing for his worldview. When does this thing end? Oh, it's getting down to one lane. I don't want to hit this guy's Bentley. Oh my gosh, that guy. This is it. Thanks for watching. Seriously, there's nothing else I have to say. Absolutely nothing. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Wonder if she's gone away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. She's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away. And I know, 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 I know. Are we still recording? Yes. Oh my goodness. It's like the longest video ever of nothing. It's like the Seinfeld of videos.